Welcome to the video about the Xiaomi 17 Ultra after more than 6 months. How good is the camera? Is this really the best camera smartphone Xiaomi ever released? Is it beating the Xiaomi 14 Ultra in that regard? And is it fighting against flagships like the Oppo Find X9 Ultra? We will check it out in this revisited camera review. So let's get started. Let's first check out the hardware. How well did this hold up after 6 months of usage? And you can see no scratches on the camera sensors or lenses there at all. And because I have this case on, also no scratches on the screen. So yeah, holding up quite nicely even after more than 6 months of usage. How about the video quality using the main camera sensor here, 1-inch type sensor, low fix support? I think it's holding up quite nicely and can definitely compete with others. Can it? Let's check it out in a direct comparison. So here it is now against the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. Which one is working better at the 1x kind of sensor here? We get more background blur for sure on the Leica powered Xiaomi. But the Oppo, regarded as one of the best out-of-the-box experiences that you can get for a smartphone when it comes to videography, well, it's still pretty good, isn't it? So which one is winning here? When it comes to the ultra-wide angle, I'm quite surprised that the hemispheres of the Xiaomi 17 Ultra is performing better with HDR here than the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. Even though I think the Find X9 Ultra has a larger sensor here, Xiaomi is working better with HDR. Look at the sun there in the background. It is doing a bit of a better job. What do you think? Also in terms of zoom performance, quite interesting. Let's go to 3x and 3.2x here. Zoom performance here on both. I think here is a bit overblown there on the Xiaomi, but you be the judge. 6x here and 4.3x here. So which one is doing better there? And of course we have this 10x optical sensor on the Oppo and 8.6x on the Xiaomi here, with the digital crop 2x on the optical. Of course we can also go to 10x that we reach now. So which one's performing better here? And then let's go even further. We go to 30x and 30x, and let's look at the crown there. So which one is performing better here in terms of videography? And let's go back to maybe the 1x sensor. Which one is also better in the zoom in and out animations? Taking a look at the photos, the ultra wide angle, you see that we have a bit of a haziness going on the Oppo, but in general we have the more contrasty look on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra with a bit more punchy colors. Yes, I was using Leica Vibrant here for this matter, and the Oppo Find X9 Ultra, the default. Otherwise the ultra wide angle is a bit more sharpened up, but also a little bit more, just a tiny little bit more, not only sharpness but also details on the Find X9 Ultra, where we don't have this so much on the Xiaomi. And then when we come to the telesensor here, 140 versus 139. Yes, it's a bit of like a crop on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, where here is also cropping in to get the 6x here. And here I try to also do 6x because we have a very, very good, like up to 4.3x kind of optical zoom. It comes very close, but yes, the crop, in-sensor crop on the Oppo is tiny. It's a tiny bit better there, I would say, but it's really, you have to pixel peep there to see a little bit more structure and texture on the Oppo that is lost on the Xiaomi. Then we come to 10x here. It's almost identical between those two. If you look at the little details there, some is like maybe more contrasty than the other. Maybe you see the stains a little bit more clear on the Oppo. We hear the stains of the sign being a bit dirty. It's not so visible. But you really have to go to little details there, like this here, to see is there a difference. And there you can see the text, for example, is a bit more scrambled up on the Xiaomi than on the Oppo with its dedicated 10x sensor. And the same goes when you go to the sides here and look at the little holes. They're super hard for both, but the optical zoom, of course, on the Oppo wins against the digital, more sharpened up look that we have there on the Xiaomi. Then a shot of Timmy there. The more contrasty look is apparent here, and also the little bit more sharpness applied on the Xiaomi. That looks a little bit more artificial when you crop in against the Oppo, but both are doing a very fine job here at 2x crops. which I really like. Then tele macro sensor, yes, both can do macro, but the Oppo Find X9 Ultra can get a bit closer there with 70mm, where I had to rely on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra's 100mm, so the optical zoom going to max to have roughly the same kind of cutout. But then detail levels are okay on the Xiaomi, but the Oppo is on another level there. Even though a larger sensor fights a little bit more with bokeh, the detail level with a bit more contrast, and it's just a little bit better and more detailed there on the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. Then when it comes to selfies, this is, I think, more of a win for the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. First of all, it's looking very natural, where the Xiaomi has a little bit of this more contrasty look, redrawn eyebrows, and a bit of artificial look on my face. And then when it comes to HDR, you see it's clearly struggling a little bit more than the Oppo is doing there. Very nice background blur in both have autofocus as far as I'm aware, and this is yeah, in terms of colors, you see here nicer bokeh there. I like the Oppo a bit more, being a little bit more natural in my opinion there. Then the telezoom again at 75, 3.2x versus 3x there, very similar. It's just higher contrast on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. That's basically about it. I don't see much of a difference there in terms of detail levels. Both have this little screws engravement details in there. Both very nice in this regard. And where you get a screw up, of course, is 8.6 times, which is the 4.2 times 4.3x times 2 on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, so in-sensor crop to the maximum optical zoom. And on the Oppo Find X9 Ultra, it's, when I do this, it's getting blurrier. 200, you see it is still keeping up, but when you go to the detail level, yes, of course, here in front, but also in the back, the text, that is where the Xiaomi is winning for sure. And winning a lot larger than at 10x, where the Oppo Find X9 Ultra with its dedicated optical zoom is winning, but not as huge as in this regard there. And then we come to the portraits already. Portraits at 35mm, very good, but you see when you compare them directly is that more natural eyebrows, not so much redrawn on the Oppo, so a slight edge there towards the Oppo, I would say. And when we take another shot here, it's so close between those two, 3.2 versus 3x there, and it's just because we have a little bit higher contrast. This is how the Xiaomi looks like. A little bit, maybe too much of the higher contrast. I don't like it too much. I like this more tuned down feeling there, a bit more warmth to my face, especially here, not so white as here it is. So I'm going with the Oppo there. And the same I have to say about this one here, 100mm, the maximum optical zoom on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. It's not giving you much of a better picture, but also not worse picture than the Find X9 Ultra's 6x here, that I would still prefer because of the color of my face, where here's just a bit too white and yeah, a bit too unnatural there. But we can also on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra go to 135mm, which is very close, but even then, I like the bokeh, I like the detail levels there on the Find X9 Ultra a slightly bit better. It's so damn close between those two. Both are portrait kings for sure. And then of course the Find X9 Ultra has even a dedicated 10x zoom that it can use for portraits. How cool is that? How surprised are you? And it's looking good, looking nice and detailed. This is something that the Xiaomi cannot compete with, where yes, the Oppo Find X9 Ultra is winning. And if you're interested in the Xiaomi 17 Ultra and get the best performance out of the camera system, either for photography or videography, then check out also my Xiaomi 17 Ultra Ultimate Video Guide for the camera. And there is also a discount code below. It's 10 videos, I think, that I did, more than 1 hour of material that gives you all the best that you can get out of this camera system, manual controls, tips and tricks. So it's worth checking out. Check down below the link for it. All in all, I'm quite happy and yeah, surprised how well the Xiaomi 17 Ultra can keep up with the Oppo Find X9 Ultra, even though it's not beating it straight outright in the overall camera score here. It is doing a very fine job, and it's definitely sitting at the same class level there. And I could imagine for photos, you might even want to check out the Xiaomi 17 Ultra a little bit more, because it has this Leica authentic look. that some people really like, and that is hard to replicate with other smartphone cameras so far. But this was daylight. How about nighttime? Let's check out some nighttime shots and do a bit of a comparison, because this is usually the weak spot for Xiaomi. Let's check it out and see if they improved. Night video here with the Xiaomi 17 Ultra 1-inch type sensor. Night video chosen, which is the only mode where it can record 4K 24 frames per second. I'm now behind the light, so walking away from the light, turning to the light. What do you think? Like always, I'm using the internal mics. How good is the Xiaomi 17 Ultra? Do we have some light dancing there in the background? What do you think? This is now the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. The light there in the background. 4K 30 frames per second. It doesn't have 24 frames per second, at least not in normal video mode, and it doesn't have a night video dedicated mode. What do you think about this one here? Is it better than the Xiaomi? Do we have light dancing in the background? How good is the mic? Yeah, what is your impression? The night photos, we start off with the ultra wide angle as always. You see that we have a bit of lens flare on the Oppo Find X9 Ultra for sure, and the Xiaomi 17 Ultra seems to be a little bit brighter, but everything else already on first glance seems to be a little bit better on the Find X9 Ultra. Better HDR, not so kind of a warm color that we have here, and when I zoom in to 100% you can clearly see where the Xiaomi is fighting already against the noise and smudging everything out there, especially here on the ground. The Oppo has still a little bit of details here, so detail retrieval is better there on the Oppo, and all over the place it has more details and performs just better on the ultra wide angle. Selfie, almost the same kind of thing, very smoothed out, very fighting against everything, try to recreate stuff, where the Oppo also a bit, but way more natural looking there. Not a bit red the face, yes, for sure, but a little bit better there for sure than the Xiaomi. 10x zoom, very, very close between those two on first glance, but when you zoom in, you see the difference there of a real optical tele zoom that is 10x against this crop in here. Yes, the Oppo is winning against the Xiaomi for sure. And then the main camera sensor, very close. You really have to nitpick to see differences between them, but it's very fantastic because the sensor size on the Oppo is a bit smaller than the one on the Xiaomi. Where can you see the differences? A little bit here. Look at this situation. First of all, the bush, a little bit more defined, detailed there. Then the car as well, it seems to be a little bit more washed out, might be sharpening, but then when we take a look at detail retrieval, you can see slightly bit better detail retrieval with the shades here. You see the individual holes there of the shades, where here some of them are blurred to a line. So yes, we have a bit more detail retrieval there for sure on the Oppo, and the same goes here. Just look at this one even more, so more lines here, where here you have individual holes. So yes, this is where the Oppo is winning, getting a slightly better kind of points there. Yeah, these are the night photos, and now let's come to the conclusion. Ranking and conclusion, yes, and when I show the ranking and conclusion in a revisited kind of test scenario, that means I changed something in the ranking here between the Xiaomi 17 Ultra against the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. First of all, yes, the Oppo is the better camera device. You see here 9.6 versus 9.5, very close in terms of like the scoring system. But if you look at the expert score or index score here, it is a little bit more further apart. Where are the big differences? Like I said, the main camera sensor is a slightly bit better there on the Oppo Find X9 Ultra, especially with detail retrieval. The ultra wide angle got an update on the Find X9 Ultra. I had to raise it to 9.1 or 4.55 points here, expert score, that makes it a little bit closer towards the Vivo series there. And that has a reason, because you were commenting on me, on my comments, on my videos about the ultra wide angle, especially when I was doing the comparison Find X9 Ultra with X300 Ultra. It is too far apart. The scoring system is wrong. They are much closer together, and I have to agree, after retesting and retesting, the Oppo Find X9 Ultra gets, even though it has this lens flare effect issues there, gets a higher score, that is getting it closer towards the Vivo here, and the Xiaomi 17 Ultra basically stays the same. The rest is the same. Zoom performance is very good on the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, but it is excellent, perfect, nearly perfect on the Find X9 Ultra. And video recording is better on the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. You saw it at nighttime, especially at daylight, maybe not so much, but at nighttime especially, the Find X9 Ultra has so much more detail, which we will there on the smaller kind of sensor, 1 over 1.12 inch size sensor, that it's like yeah, almost declassifying the Xiaomi 17 Ultra there at night. Portrait mode is also very, very close there, but I think the Find X9 Ultra, especially with its extra reach there, wins here. Maybe it should get another point there for the portrait mode, but for now it is staying at this here. Maybe some future updates will update it a little bit more here to make like the 3X standing out a little bit more there. 70mm, I mean. Then we have the selfie camera, which is also a win for the Find X9 Ultra, especially visible. Daylight, you saw it already being a bit more natural, but at nighttime it's a huge win there for the Find X9 Ultra, and this is clearly visible here. Camera UI and extra features are nearly identical between those two, so not much of a difference. But the ranking has changed. Like I said, the ultra-wide angle has changed. This is why the Oppo Find X9 Ultra finally deserves the spot, or gets the spot that it deserves. Second rank here with 9.6 points. It is beating the X200 Ultra there, which is also 9.6 points, by a margin only, because the main camera sensor is better, the ultra-wide angle is not better, and the telezoom is better. This is why it's like beating it, and the rest, especially also video, is better there on the Find X9 Ultra. So the Find X9 Ultra is getting the second spot here and coming closer towards the X300 Ultra. So this score is now corrected, hopefully, and everyone is happy with this scoring system, hopefully. There's one more thing, and this is this year, the Xiaomi 17 Ultra Ultimate Video Guide. I mentioned it briefly earlier in the video. Here I wanted to show you where you can get it. I will put the link down below. It is available for 49 euros, and I think this is a very fair price for this super video guide that I created here, where we can learn everything from log video recording, grading on your smartphone itself, 80 plus minutes here of a masterclass, more than 10 chapters where I will guide you through everything that you need to know for macro photography, lighting, vlogging, good videos, pro video modes, 10-bit log recording, grading, cinematic motions, the perfect setup of how you can set up everything there on your Xiaomi 17 Ultra. So if you have a Xiaomi 17 Ultra and you want to get more out of your Xiaomi 7 Ultra, this is the one thing that you can get now here for 49 euros currently. The link is down below, and there's also a little bit of a discount code. So yes, you can save a little bit of money, and all you have to do is click I want this, and then you are able to pay, give me even a tip if you want to. So I'm gladly also taking some tips if necessary, and that's about it. And the discount code is where you apply here, and then you get a little bit of a discount. You can also give it as a gift if you want to. Then you can put in the recipient's email. So if you know someone that has a Xiaomi 17 Ultra and you want to give it as a gift, for, I don't know, birthday or something, then this is also possible here. That's everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.